Bladestorm. Yeah, we're not done with this yet. I've got a little 12v9. Let's take a look at the forces. The boys in blue are Wood Elf figures from the Demon World line. Ralparthy Europe, that's where I get them. Little warband, comes with a nice collection. There's a couple that aren't shown here, just to keep things simple. All of these elves are wearing chainmail under the blue cloaks. Cut me some slack. That's about as far as we go without being WYSIWYG. Chainmail gives them a damage reduction of 3. They have a defense of 9. That's what their opponent has to roll to hit them. The weapons here, we've got 3 guys with the big swords, 3 guys with spears, and then 2 guys with short bows. The short bows have that fun little thing where their range is dependent on how far away you are. For every 12 inches, they're at -2 to hit. Most of these guys have about 3d6 -1 to hit. The guys with the big swords, these are the elite guards. They have a 2d6 plus a d10 -1. They do high plus low plus 2 damage, and then everything else is low, either +2 or ×2. The bow is low ×2. All the swords and spears is low +2. The leader here, as I said, he has 43 hit points. The other guys have 10 hit points. We're going to use dice to track wound state. First 5 hit points will drop a blue die. Once they take that 5th hit point, they have to make a morale check. If they're within 1 foot, that's the influence range of their leader, they are at +2 on morale and +2 on melee. These guys are a little stronger than the opposition force. Little better morale. Their leader's not quite as good. He's a lot stronger, but he doesn't have quite the influence range of the boys in red. These ugly little cultists are led by a guy with an influence range of 15, but he's got crazy bonuses. +2 to morale, +2 to melee, +1 to defense. If you're within 15 inches of your boss, your defense goes from 9 to 10. They're wearing light armor, only damage reduction of 1 for these guys. They have the same number of hit points as their opponents. So we're 10s across the board, keeps it simple. Their boss man, now remember, the other boss had 43 hit points. He's only got 30, so he is rather vulnerable. No missile weapons on these guys at all. And, man, I think that's really all we need to talk about. The guys with the big axes, they roll 2d6 plus d10. That's these 5 in the back. They do high plus low +1 damage. Most of these guys are at -2 on their attacks, at least the guys with the big weapons, either the big sword or the battle axe. 2d6 plus 10 -2. They do high plus low +1 or 2, give or take. And then the guys with the little short swords here, these 3 little degenerates, they only roll 3d6 -1, but they do high damage. And then the leader, again, he's got the sword. He's really good. He's got 3d6 +4. I was looking through some of the stats in the book. I didn't use a straight point-based value for these guys. I just kind of grabbed the figures I got, threw them together, said, hey, if the elves have a little better armor, these guys have a few more people. These guys are, they're all the same speed. So that's pretty much where we're at. Give them a little better leader just to compensate for the fact that they don't have that damage reduction. They're really going to have to chip away at the elves to get this done. Next up, let's take a look at the terrain. What you're looking at is a little valley, 2 streams, they probably come together somewhere down the line over there. Everything up here is a slope that comes down towards the stream. Everything over here slopes down toward this stream. That's going to be really important because in Bladestorm, if you are fighting a guy who is uphill from you, meaning if he's closer to these corners, there are penalties that accrue. His defense goes up, his morale goes up, he's feeling good about life, he's feeling good about what he's about to do to you. On the other hand, I am going to add a little wrinkle that if you're on the road, that doesn't apply. If you're downhill but you're on the road has good footing, maybe you're just a little lower, but the road is probably, graded. It's really nice. So it doesn't apply there. Notice that we have these streams. There's a ford here, there's a ford here, and there's a ford here. If you are in the fords, the stream penalties don't apply. Streams slow you down by half, and if you're standing in the stream when somebody whacks you on the head, your defense goes down by 4. You are extremely vulnerable when you're in the stream. The grasslands don't block movement, but you do get a morale bonus and a cover bonus if you're standing in those. The forests, they do slow you down, but you get huge bonuses, the usual. And then these 2 little brushy areas, those block line of sight. They block movement. The brush, as I said, doesn't block line of sight. The forests here do. So we have 2 questions. 1, who's the attacker? 2, where are they coming from? And so I'm going to roll first to find out who the attackers are. Then we're going to set up the defenders, and then the attackers will start. They'll basically mobilize. They'll appear on the table within 1 movement distance of one of the two roadsides. Like if we're defending over here, the attackers are going to come on over there. So I'm just going to do a simple roll off, and of course, red for the red coats. That means red, and I probably should have specified beforehand. We're rolling to see who the attacker is. Red is the attacker. Blue is going to be defending, and that means our victory condition is we want to get most guys onto the slope. If the attacker can get more guys above the slope than the defender, then at the end of the game, then he will win. The question is, which way are they attacking from? And I'm going to roll for, what we'll do is we'll just make it 50-50. On a 1, 2, 3, they're attacking from that side. So they're attacking from here. Defenders set up over there. The defenders set up a little something like this. We're going to go with a couple of big swords over here. Spear guy. We put both of the archers over here with a clear line of sight down the road. That, I would like to put them here, but these bushes are in a really unfortunate position for the defenders. For the attackers, things look a little something like this. We're going to send 3 of our axemen as a front wave. We're kind of wheeling along. We'll cross the ford. We'll come at it from that direction. And then over here, I put the kind of weaker guys, the 3 just sword guys in front. They're going to draw fire from those archers, and then we'll be able to bring the axes, and then just one more of these big 2-handed sword guys just diving right in. The leader, of course, is going to try to split the difference. He's going to stay in the middle, and that way we can take full advantage of his morale and melee and armor bonuses. If you recall, the turn sequence is player 1 goes, that would be the defender, player 2 goes, and then we're back to player 1. You do all of your movement, all of your missile fire, everybody is move or shoot, and then you do your melee. Of course, we don't have any melee. Play is going to kick back over to the elves, and all the elves are going to do, they like their defensive position. They're going to stand there, and they're going to try to whittle down the numbers a little bit. We have 2 bow shots, and we're going to use the standard Wargaming protocol. You have to fire at the nearest figure unless the nearest figure is in some kind of cover. Real quick question here, not clearly defined. We are at a distance of, there's 12 inches, and here's 24. So the archers are going to be at -2. How does this, if you're on 2 sides of a valley, are they classed as uphill? Do they get the defensive bonus? I'm not going to worry about that, okay? It's open line of sight. For now, because these guys are on an upslope, I guess you could argue because the archers are down near the stream and these guys are a little uphill. But oh man, does that get fiddly. And I'm not too worried about it because these guys in front that are getting shot at have a normal defense of 9, but they have a bonus of 1 because they're close to their leader who's got that ability. He can tell them to shuck and jive, jink, move, a little herkily-jerkily to make themselves harder to hit. Not only that, but because they are at further than 12 inches, they're between 12 and 24 inches, it's an additional -2 to that roll. In other words, we're only going to be hitting on a 13 or higher. 9 plus 1, effectively +2 because of the range. I thought about playing this using centimeters instead of inches, but it would take so long for these guys to get across the table. I'm not sure it would add anything. We're going to speed things along by using inches. Kind of a big skirmish for this rule set for such a small table, but I'm not going to worry about it. So we roll for 2 shots, and we need 1 black die as the death die. Remember that if the death die comes up a 1, it's an automatic hit. Although they do low ×2, it's only going to be 1 point of damage if this comes up as a 1. Looking for 13, we get a 4, 5, and a 3. That's a 12, not going to do it. And then we get another one, and it's going to be a 13, and that will be a hit on, we'll just call it this guy here in the center. They do low, let me just double check my stats here. The short bows do, I'm sorry, wait, where is it? Here we go. The bow does low ×2. Oh my goodness. That's going to be 6 points of damage. The low die was a 3. So 6 points of damage, but remember, damage reduction of 1 means this guy takes 5 points of damage. Oh my goodness. We'll use the blue dice for the wound status for this guy here in the front. He now has 5 hit points. Because he has lost half his hit points, he has to make a morale check. We roll a 3d6. We're going to add 2 for the morale boost because he is within line of sight of his leader. He has a morale of He has a morale of, where's your morale there, buddy? I didn't write it down. I think it's a morale of 9. So we're rolling against a 9, and we get a total result of a 10. We have passed, and that means he is not disrupted. He is good to go. And that's going to be it for the boys in blue. Going to have to move these guys now. After movement, the table looks a little something like this. We've moved up 6 inches. A little bit of a bottleneck over here at the bridge. We're going to leave the wounded guy behind. We don't want to lose him. We might be able to rush him up at the end of the game to steal a couple of extra victory points. That means we're going to take 2 more bow shots, and we are still, according to Mr. Ruler, at long range. And now we don't have to worry about the elevation thing. Not going to be a big deal. Everything is the same. We still have a defensive 9. +1 because of the leader, -2 to the roll because of that. So we're looking for 10s, and we get another 3 on the hit. So this is a 14, that's a hit. That's going to do 6 points of damage. So we have to make a morale check for the guy in front. We roll a 6, +2 is 8. That is a failure. Not only that, but he's going to have to suffer a second arrow shot from the other archer. And this arrow shot is going to be a 10, which is going to be a failure. So we'll put another wounded 5 die down, and we'll put down our red gem of shame on top of it. And the problem that this causes for the guys in red is that we've got a little bit of a pile up here at the bridge. Blue team's over. It's red team's turn to go, and this guy's disrupted. So he can't move. He has to move out of the way. We're going to bring him around here. He's going to hide from the guys shooting arrows at him, and that's going to free up some space so that the rest of the guys behind him can pile in. After movement, our swing to the right kind of strung out like that. Not relatable being strung out. This guy just moved to the side. He now has the option to try to rally. It's a regular morale check. He has a morale of 9 plus, I think, is it +1 or is it +2 for the boss man? There's a lot of modifiers in this game. The morale modifier is +2. So his morale is 11, and he's trying to roll. Let's just roll, and then we'll sort out what happens. So really good roll here. He got a 16, and when you're trying to recover from morale, let's see what the cheat sheet says, shall we? They have a nice little one-pager here in the center of the book that gives you everything you need. And now, of course, now that I said that, I can't find it. Here we go. So this is kind of the cheat sheet. Melee, missile attack. But down here, morale. If you roll 3d6, if the result is greater than the morale stat, the roll is successful. At the end of his phase, player may make a morale check. If it's greater than the unit's morale +5, all right, well, I think what I'm doing wrong here is that his morale is 9. I add 2 to this roll, and because I got a 14 or higher, he is no longer disrupted. Now, he's still injured, but at least he can move towards the enemy. If you're adjacent to an enemy, you have to move away. And if you want to attack while you are disrupted, then you are at -5 to that attack roll, which is huge in a game like this. The other thing is, if you fail that morale check, when you're trying to recover from being disrupted, if you fail, you run off the board. That's how you route. All right. So you have 3 possibilities. You either route if you fail it. If you succeed, you're still on the board. If you succeed by 5, then you're no longer disrupted. So we have 2 more bow shots, and we're going to have to shoot at the closest guy. Once again, it's just one of these pukey little sword guys. We score a 12, which I think we're within 12 inches now. Yeah, that's going to be at short range. So, you know what? Come to think of it, these guys are 3d6 -1. That makes this an 11, which means we have the bonus for defense here. We have the +1 to the defense mod of 10. That's still going to be a hit. That's going to be 4 points of damage. Subtract the 1. He takes 3 points of damage for that shot. I hope I have enough blue dice. And then we have a second bow shot at the same guy. And this time we get a hit for double damage, right? Low ×2. minus the 1. That's going to do just 1 more point. We really wanted to try to drive that guy off. We've got 3 wounded guys, but all the heavy hitters are coming up next. With the 6-inch movement, we're going to bring these 2 axemen are leading the way. We want to try to pin these 3 defenders down, and then we'll go ahead and why don't we bring this guy up? We're gonna keep. He's our cannon fodder, and we are gonna fod the cannon. Things are really starting to converge here. We have 2 more shots again at the closest guy. Notice the leader is trying to stay out of sight. He wants to stay within 15 inches. That's what he tells himself. If he's at the center of the table, he's within 15 inches of all of his boys, then he's doing the maximum good that he can by just kind of hiding back here. Now, he is a combat monster, so he'll probably get stuck in here in a little bit, but we don't want to risk him to the arrow fire. This result of a 9 is going to be a miss, and the second shot is going to be a fairly substantial hit. This is going to be a 15. Again, we're just trying to beat an 11. Oh, it's a 10 rather. So big hit, low times 2, minus 1. So this time we do 7, 6, and that's going to just take this guy out completely. But he did what he was supposed to do. He remembered his job description, go catch some arrows, and that is exactly what he did. Next up, we have to figure out what the movement is going to be like for the red guys. I haven't been rolling to see if any Bladestorms show up. At the end of every turn, meaning after the red team has gone, we roll 3d6, and if we get the triple sixes, then we get to play with the fun Bladestorm effects. I'll start doing that at the end. I'll try. I always forget. But hey, maybe this is the episode where we finally get to see a Bladestorm. And it's really not. I mean, it's only 1 turn in 216. They spend a whole lot of time talking about that in the rules for something that's only going to happen. I mean, if the average game is 10 turns long, you're only going to see it 1 in 20 games. Be that as it may, the red team has gone. We've got this guy. I think we actually I should check my distances here. Remember the bow guys. This bow guy is going to have to fire at him. But and what about this one? That's about 3.5 inches. Is anybody closer? It's pretty close. Let's go ahead and fire 1 shot at this guy. And we'll actually start with that one here. Now, he is within 15 inches of the leader, so he does get the +1 bonus. We're looking for a 10 or better. A total of 11 is going to be really hurtful because not only did we hit, but we have doubles on the low die. That means we do 6 points of damage. -1 forces a morale check for that axe guy. He is at +2 to his roll, looking for a 9. We got a 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? He's +2 because the boss man is standing right there, and he doesn't want to look like a chump in front of the guy paying the bills. He has a morale modifier of +2. Yeah, so we're good. We're good. We made it. And then we have 1 more bow shot. We're going to try to take this guy out. And with a result of a 6, we're going to completely flub on that one. Now, the elf leader, I kind of wish I'd given him a missile modifier. Might have done a little bit more good, probably a little more thematically appropriate. As I said, I didn't really use there are rules. So this is the source book right here. And it's got a whole bunch of stat lines and everything for elves, dwarves, all the usual. Sea trolls. I don't think it has halflings. But all kinds of big, nasty monsters. And I didn't use them. I just eyeballed it. It does have... The game also has conversion options for games like... what is this one? Rollmaster, appropriate. Fantasy Hero, and then down here, look, from D&D. I'm not sure why you would use this instead of D&D. It's a bit like using... well, I guess I should probably use my Camry instead of driving the Jaguar. Where was I? Blue team is gone. Now it's red team's turn to go. And this 1v1 fight might be a little bit of a mistake. The fort is wide enough for 2 people to stand side by side. And I think we're finally going to get into that position where at 6 inches, we're going to be just in position. Because we are in the ford, I'll bring this guy up behind. He can't force his way into any flanking. So we're going to have a nice little 2-on-2 over there. Over here, I think we want, maybe now's the time to bring our leader on board. I'm going to bring this guy. Remember, we just need to get him onto this side of the table. I'm actually going to bring him up here. We're not going to attack or do anything like really interesting with him yet. I just want to get, oh, except you know what? I forgot. When you're moving uphill, you move at half speed. That's going to drag this guy back about 1.5 inches to there. And this guy had moved, call it 4 inches. I'm going to bring him halfway back to the stream. And that's about as far as they can go because, as I said, they're moving uphill. Then, and again, this little ford doesn't apply. So we can bring this guy probably up to the ford and probably even Stevens. So there's no real bonus there. I probably should have thought about that a little harder. For them, we'll bring this guy around. He's not going to be able to get quite in contact, I don't think. And then up here, I'm actually going to bring the boy with a big two-handed sword to attack the guy with the spear. And because the spears are longer, I may give these spears the ability to come up and make attacks on the guy attacking the bridge. I may do that later. Meanwhile, I think I'm going to bring this guy over to here. He's ready to back up. He's ready to back up. And then, well, I don't want to bring my leader out just yet because the guys with the bow and arrow are not distracted enough. That's going to end the movement phase. Now we have to do the combat phase, and we have 3 combats. Now, because it's the red team's turn, we're going to do this combat first. This guy gets to attack the leader, and this is probably going to be fairly suicidal. But if we can chip that leader down and drive him off, maybe we can force a morale check that wins the game for us. That guy is attacking the leader with a big honkin' axe, and that means he's rolling 2d6 plus a d10. And the guy that he's attacking has a defense of 11. Now, we are within 15 inches of our leader, so we do have that. The Colt has a melee modifier of +2. So we will be adding 2 to this die roll. We're looking for an 11. And we get a 10. We get a 15 altogether. Actually, I think it's like a 17, but we hit him. And because it's a big battle axe, it does high plus low +1. That means we're going to be doing 12 points of damage, but he has damage reduction of 3. So the 11 becomes 8. And instead of using dice for the leaders, I have to check boxes off. And this is what I was made for. I check all the boxes. So there's all the hit points he's got. I'm just going to cross them off here on our battle roster to keep track. And remember, he's got to take 22 points of damage before we do any kind of morale check for him. Now the blue leader gets to make a counterattack. He has 3d6 plus 2. He's trying to score a 10 or better. He scores a 6, and that ain't going to do it. He does a lot of damage. Wait, is it +2 or is it +4? Yeah, no, it's +2. He's not great. Then we have these 2 fights over here. Let's start with the fight on the left. We're going to be in a pretty much identical situation with the 3d6. We score a 10. And then we are within 15 inches of the leader, right? Yep, see, we're within 12. Remember, it's 12 for this guy, 15 for the other one. So that's going to be a 10 plus 2 is a 12, and that's going to hit. This time, what do we got here? We got these are 2 axemen. That's what it is. The axemen are once again going to be doing high plus low +1. So that's all 3 dice. You count all of the lows. That's going to be another 11 points of damage minus 3. Means we do 8 points of damage to this guy, leaving him. So we did 5. And then we have 3. So he has to make a morale check. Because of his leader, he does get that morale bonus. His leader gives him a +2. Morale of the same morale for everybody on the table, basically. Morale of 9. We're at +2. We get a 13. We are fine. The death die does not apply to morale checks. Not only are we fine, we have an opportunity to swing back. And that's going to be a huge hit. That's going to be a 17. And again, with the big two-handed sword for the elf, we're going to do low. Oh, wait. Where's my elf broadsword guy? The big sword does 2d6. Oh, plus d10. It's actually -1 on that. Still going to be a hit. And that's going to do high plus low +2 damage. So in this case, it's going to be 15 points of damage -1. Holy cow. Man, when those guys wind up, they do some serious damage. Then we have another battle over here. Same thing. We're going to roll the 3 dice that look like this. That is going to be a big hit for 16 points of damage, minus the 13 points of damage. The boy in blue does not even get a chance to return fire, even with the chainmail. That will end melee for the turn. Nobody's disrupted. That will actually end the entire turn. We'll roll the 3d6, and we get no Bladestorms. I wonder if there's a modifier to that based on the number of people that are on the table. Okay, so we have an option to do something interesting now. We're going to bring this guy up, and we're going to bring him over flanking. All right, he's only got 2 hit points left, but he's still capable of fighting. That means we're going to get to make a couple of attacks on this guy. And, oh, you know what? In retrospect, this guy does suffer an attack. I forgot that all attacks are simultaneous when you do melee. And with the result of a 9, 10, 11, he's going to get hit for high plus low. So that's 9 minus 1. So he's only got 2 hit points left. We'll drop down the damage die for him. He has to make a morale check. And he's going to pass with flying colors. And now the table looks a little something like this. It's still blue team's go. So we're going to try to, boy, this elf. Here we have 3 men holding the bridge. Combat is simultaneous. I'm going to roll for the guy in front first. He is one of those guys that rolls 2d6 plus a d10. He's going to score a 17, and then, oh my goodness, he is going to do some serious damage there. And that's what's kind of nice about this game. I feel like you don't even really need to do a whole lot of math sometimes. When you roll that high, we're looking at a total of 17 points of damage, 14. That's going to kill this spearman. But that's assuming that the guy with the big sword survives 3 spear attacks. Now, they're not going to get the flanking bonus. Here, let me turn that around so you're not just looking at a washer, okay? So he's not going to survive this turn. I'm not going to give them the flanking bonus. I'm just going to give them the fact that they actually can attack. Now, spears roll 3d6 minus 1. They do have a plus 2 to this roll, so they're at 3d6 plus 1, looking to score a 9. This first hit from the first guy is another one of those, man, with a 17, we are rolling big time. That's going to do 16 points of damage. Even subtracting the 1, this guy with a big sword is out of action. And I don't even need to roll for the other 2 guys. But he did, he did kind of what he needed to do. Let's bounce on over here and take a look at the fight in the ford. The guy with the axe is beset by 2. I don't know if I think his modifiers still apply. He's still in the fight. He's still going, so we're going to give it to him. We're going to roll 2 attacks, and this first attack is going to be a 6, 7, 8. That's going to be a miss. Now, the second attack is going to be a flanking attack. We're going to roll a 14, 15, 16 because of the boss man, and with the flanking bonus, we are also going to hit. And because we're attacking with the spear, we do low times 2 plus 2. So low times 2 is going to be 8. Is 16, 17, 18. This guy only has 3 hit points left. He is out of the game. Man, this game gets bloody quick when you're dealing with all these little guys, even with the minus 1. Then we have 1 more combat left to fight. These guys are still locked in combat, so we have to roll for both of them. Now Team Blue is going to attack, and that leader is still, I have to check my notes again, with the broadsword, he's at 3d6 plus 2. He's going to score an 11, 12, 13. That makes this a hit. And the broadsword does high damage plus 2. So he will do 7 points of damage, minus 1 to this guy. That's going to be 6 points of damage. 4 for the blue die, and then we drop the little red die. That will force a morale check. And he's going to get a plus 2 on the morale check for an 11 because the leader's still on the board. That means he passes a morale check. But, so he's only got 4 hit points left. And not only that, but he does get to make the counterattack against the leader. And with the big sword, we're at 2d6 plus a d10 plus 2. Plus 4, I should say. If you score 2, well, what's the deal here? There's a rule about if you score two 1s. I think this is an automatic miss, even with the plus 2 and the plus 2 bonus for the leader. I'm going to count that as swing and a miss, but he's still in the fight. which may come in handy later. Because what we can do on Team Red's turn is we'll bring him up to attack this guy who is hurt and wounded. I'm going to bring this axe guy around, and he's going to flank the leader over here. And then when we look around here, I am now going to go ahead and bring my leader up. The fact that these archers are not engaged yet, well, they will be now, right? Because we're going to bring this cultist down here. He's going to have the home field advantage because he's higher. We'll bring that guy. We'll bring these guys. And then now I can bring this guy to get stuck in. I'm going to bring him over the bridge. And our leader now, I'd really like to bring him over here. So that, because I don't want this guy getting double teamed. So that's 3 inches of movement. On the other hand, if I bring him 3 inches over here, that may be the safest bet. So I know this looks a little chaotic. We're going to take it one fight at a time. We've got a fight up here, which is going to be a spear guy. Where's my spear dice? And we're going to roll these, and we'll just kind of play it by ear. We don't need to do a lot of math. We only have to do the math if we're close, right? I'm at +2. So I know this is going to be a hit for 10 points of damage. Well, that's actually going to be 7 points of damage. So this guy gets hit pretty hard. And he gets to make a counterattack. Except the big swords are actually at high plus low +2. So that's going to take him out of the game. He actually takes a full 10 points of damage. But he does get to make his counterattack, and that counterattack is going to be at a 14, 15, 16. He is going to do high plus low plus the, what was that? That was a spear guy. I rolled the wrong dice. He's actually going to be at 3d6 +1. And with that, he's still going to land a hit, and the spear is going to do low times 2 +2. So he's going to do a total of 6 points of damage. 2 times 2 + 2 is 6. That's going to leave the Axeman over here with 5 hit points, unless he fails his morale check. He's at +2. He gets a 12. He's going to be just fine, at least until this spear guy decides to get stuck in. Now we have this second combat over here, where we have a guy with a little pukey sword. We'll roll for him first. He's at +2. That's a 13. That is going to hit, but it's not going to do as much damage as it might otherwise have. Oh, it is. It does high damage. He does 9 full points of damage to this guy with the bow. And the guy with the bow is going to have to make a morale check. So let's do the guy with the bow's attack first. He is going to hit back. Now, the guy with the bow does have a small sword. That is going to be at -1, and the small sword, the short sword, is going to be doing... Oh, how much damage does a short sword do? It looks like it does low +2. So he's only going to do 9 points of damage. So we have another guy with the red. Oh, so that's actually going to kill him. But the bowman was left with 4 points of damage, with 1 hit point, and he has to make that morale check. I think it was 1 hit point, which he does. He passes that with flying colors. He got a 13. He gets a +2 to this roll. He only needs a 9. So any of the 7 or better. So we're going to see a lot of guys making their rolls. Then we have a combat here, which is going to be the wounded guy with the sword trying to get some vengeance. He's going to hit for low +2. That's 3. Oh, 3 damage reduction. It's not going to hurt him. His friend with the big sword, on the other hand, is going to score a 15. And is that a miss? I don't think so. You have to roll 2 ones for it to be a miss. So the 15 is a hit. And with the big sword, that's going to be high plus low +2. That's going to be 16 points of damage. So Mr. Bowman is going to die. But Mr. Bowman does get to at least turn and try to take out this guy with the light sword. He rolls a 10, 11, 12. That will be a hit. He does 2 with his little sword. He's going to do low times 2 + 2. That's 4 points of damage, reduced by 1 because of the light armor. And that's only going to be 2 points of damage. So, I don't have enough red dice over here. It's getting pretty bloody over here. That's going to leave this guy. He takes 2 points of damage, so we'll just drop another 2 points down. Okay. Then we have this complicated mess over here. It's not as complicated as it looks. We're going to make 2 attacks with this collection of dice. The first one will be at +1 for damage. Oh, that's big. And then the second one's going to be at +2. So we do 16 points of damage, reduced down to 13 because of the armor. And then we roll an 11, 12, 13. Our target number here for the leader is only 11. We're going to do high plus, low plus, I think it was 1. So we did 13. And then this is another 9, 8, 7, 6. So we do a total of 19 points of damage. And our boy is going to have to make a morale check. That leaves him with only 17 hit points remaining. And as the leader, he's got some issues. But let's do his attack first. He is going to be turning it. He wants to attack the guy with the axe. He's a lot more scary. So we'll hit, and again, it's actually 3d6. He's going to hit with a 6. I think that one was a 4. We'll call it a 6, 6, and 4. I don't think it's going to make a difference. He's going to hit for high +2. Oh, it will make a difference. If this was a 4, then we do 8 points of damage. But now we do 14 points of damage, and so we kill that guy. But we still have to make a morale check for the leader there. Stand up, Chief. He's going to pass with flying colors, and this guy with the axe is probably going down. In fairly short order, we do have a battle over here that we have to do in the ford, and that's going to be back with the D10. At D10, we're still looking for that 9. We'll call that a 5. High plus low, 11 points of damage. +2 is 13, even with the damage reduction. Well, he's only got 2 hit points left, so that guy is out of the game for good. That ends Team Red's turn. And things are looking pretty good for Team Red right now. We have to see if a Bladestorm shows up. And with a 111, I need to check the rules. It would appear the arrival of a Bladestorm is scenario specific. Because this is such a drastic outlier, such an unusual roll, let's go ahead and take a look at how Bladestorms work. Unless otherwise dictated, roll a d10, and this tells you what kind of Bladestorm shows up. I roll and get a 7, and that means that it's going to be a tornado. A whirlwind of fallen weapons kicks up some dust. And the tornado version, find the center of the table and roll a d10 for the direction from the center that it arrives. With the result of a 5, it's going to arrive due south of the center of the table. Then you roll 2d6 plus a d10. I think this guy's still alive. I don't know if he died or not. So it's going to appear 9 inches from the center of the table. The tornado is only 2 inches in size to start with. I'm going to put, now I know that's off camera, I'm going to put a little gem, a total of 9 inches south. So that's pretty close. Remember, our table is only 12 inches across. So it's pretty far away from where the combatants are right now. It's only 2 inches in diameter. Then we're going to roll for the direction and distance of this movement at the end of every subsequent turn. But we do need to roll a shot clock. I have a blue D6 here. The game is going to end D6 turns after the Bladestorm shows up. So we only get one more turn. All right, this will be the last turn. Blue gets to go first, so we're going to jump in here. We want to keep him on side. We want to see if we can take this guy out. So this really is the last turn. We're not even going to really get to see the Bladestorm, are we? So we're going to turn, and we're going to, you know what we could do? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 guys. We're going to bring our leader. You know, I'm inclined to try. I'm going to bring the leader around here. We're going to try to kill their leader on this turn. We need to do some serious damage. He's got 17 hit points left. The red leader has 30, so I think we'll be okay. And then we'll go ahead and bring. Let's just fight a whole bunch of fights here, okay? Got to bring the wounded guy around. Now, remember that our bowman gets to decide who he's going to fight. So the bowman's going to fight the guy here in the front. And then everybody's locked in. Everybody's dialed up and ready to go. I got to roll a couple of attacks down here at the ford. We'll roll for the red shirt first. He's going to score a huge hit. High plus low plus 2 is 14. That will kill the guy with the big sword. The guy with the big sword is also going to get a big hit. Man, we are rolling lights out. Both of these guys are gonna die. We'll leave the leaders for the end. And then we will, let's zoom in on this action a little bit more because we got a lot going on over here. Kind of slide right there. Now we got room for dice too. That's always nice. So we have a spear guy who says, hey, what are you getting in my grill for? Both of these guys roll 3d6 plus 1. The red gets to go first. That's going to be a hit. And with the battle axe, I rolled the wrong dice. Do-over. Battle axe rolls these. He's going to score, that was a 3 and a 9. He's going to score 15, 16, 17, and it's going to do 16 points of damage. That spear guy is going to go down. But not without a fight. He's going to roll his 3 dice plus 1. He's going to roll an 8, 9. That's going to do, is it enough to kill him? I don't think it is. The spear will do low times 2 plus 2. So that, oh, actually it is, wouldn't you know it? Oh, 1 times 2 is 2, plus 2 is 4. Damage reduction means this guy goes to, he's got 2 hit points left, but he's still around. We can't say the same for the elf. Then we've got this guy with the short sword. All he needs to do is 1 point of damage with a 12. He does 6 points of damage, and that is going to end the elf bowman. And I think that's pretty much sealed the deal for Team Red. They're going to have 4 guys on this side, maybe even 5, because we have to find out what happens down here. Now, the leader, I'm actually going to roll for him first. It's all simultaneous. I just want to see if he can do 4 points of damage. He gets the 12. He rolls 3d6. Yeah, he's going to kill this guy. So then that leader gets to attack back, and that leader just has a broadsword. Oh, this isn't going to work. Well, the guy he killed gets to roll 3d6, and he's going to roll a 10, 11, 12. He's going to do low. That little pukey sword just does high damage. Oh, that's actually an 11. He misses. 9, 10, 11, 12, minus 1 is 11. You need to beat an 11. And then the other leader has got a plus 4. He's going to score a 15, which is, but he does high plus 2, minus 1, so he does 9 points of damage to his opponent, and his opponent still has 8 hit points left, so we weren't able to kill him. So at the end of the game, then we roll to see what happens with the tornado. What direction does it move? Let's see if it even shows up on camera. With a result of a 0, it's going to, we got to re-roll it. We need a 1 through 8, and we'll re-roll again. With a result of a 3, it's going to move to the east. We aren't even going to see what happens. But for the record, if it had moved up in this direction and it moves into our area, everybody takes a 2d6 plus 10 attack, does high plus low. So that would have been really devastating. But as it is, the elf leader is the only one. He's probably captured. He surrenders. All his guys are dead. And as you can see, we've got 2 wounded. We got 1 each. We've got a battle axe. A guy with the hunchback, the guy that took the first arrow, survived to the end. Good for you. We've got 1 unhurt guy with the nice gold mask and the sword. And then we also have our leader who is unhurt. So call it a solid win for Team Culty and a solid loss for the elves. And things really get moving in this game because there's not a lot of middle ground. You either miss, you do 1 or 2 points of damage, or you just completely blast the guy out of his boots. Interesting game. Moves really quick. I thought it was going to take a little longer than this. Probably would have taken a lot less longer, if that's even a word, had we had the Bladestorm roll up and just kill everybody. But hey, when you're fighting in the Blade Lands, them's the breaks. Till next time, guys, I'm praying for you.